Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's Victor here, giving you guys another commentary for you guys here. So, in the background, you're seeing some Gears of War 2 gameplay, and the thing is that I'm actually playing this on PC. So, if you don't know, there's been an unofficial port of Gears of War 2 on PC that was just released, I think, yesterday, which at the time of this recording, and it got so much attention that it pretty much froze the Discord server and basically closed it. So not a lot of people were able to download it. Now, be it there are some people out there that are sharing the files that they were that though the ones who were able to download the files, they were able to share it on different websites. Now, I'm not gonna do it. I'm gonna just leave that up for you because just in case I'm not trying to get cease and desist by Microsoft or anything like that. So it's out there. It's definitely out there. You just gotta do a little bit of research, and there's definitely gonna be some information for you where you can be able to download the game. You don't really have to pay for anything. It's essentially a free download, um, which is essentially is I think they took the native version of the game and basically ported it on the PC. It's not like they're emulating it through Xania or the Xania manager or anything like that. So uh, which was funny was earlier today I was actually emulating Gears of War 2 on the emulation, and I was able to play it, but there were some issues. I was able to get, I was having some stutters. My GPU was just running hot. I'm running an RTX 4080, and I was able to run okay basically at 1440p at about like 150 to 200 FPS. So the framing was kind of all over the place, unfortunately, and I did have some weird artifacts going on, but generally it was playable. And then once I turned off the game and I was just having lunch earlier today, I got to see that someone was able to share a download link for Gears of War 2. So I was able to download it, and downloading didn't take too long. And then once I was able to run it, it was a much better experience. It was much more optimized, and it was a good time. I was enjoying myself. I haven't really played a Gears of War 2 campaign in a long time. I think since 2009, I think. Um, and then this is because I wanted to try out the story mode DLC that came out at the time, so I wanted to try it out, but I haven't played it since 2009, and having to replay this, man, this was such a good campaign, man. I totally forgot how great this campaign was. Gears of War 2, even though I did like the game, I've always had my gripes when it came to the multiplayer. Um, I got to play Gears of War 2 day one when it first came out, and I was excited because I'm a big time Gears of War 1 fan. And Gears 2, disappointed me, but due to the game's performance and networking issues and host advantage and the terrible matchmaking, it was just bad. It was just bad all around. And of course, within the year, they were able to fix it up, patch it, and the game did was able to run better. But the game still felt like it had some issues. There were still networking issues. There were still imbalances. Hit registration was terrible. The net code was terrible. But with that being said, the overall package was still great. I thought the campaign was great. I thought the horde mode was great. So being able to replay this game several over what was it over 15 years later is such a blessing. Now, be it I was able to play Gears of War 1 as well through Redux, and that was a blessing as well, being able to play the native version of Gears of War 1. Fun fact, I still hold my copy of the Gears of War 1 games for Windows. For games for Windows, I still have my physical copy. I still have it to this day that I bought in 2008. I still have it. It's a piece of memorabilia for me. So having to be able to play Gears 1 on my current PC was it almost came full circle because this was almost 20 years ago. Now, be this was like 18 years ago, but it's close to 20 years ago, so close enough. And it's just funny because I'm kind of been in the funk of like wanted to play Gears of War again, wanted to replay the campaigns, and of course, Gears of War E-Days just around the corner, and I'm excited. Weirdly enough, I was mainly into Gears for the multiplayer, but at this stage, I'm more excited for the campaign than the multiplayer. I think the multiplayer is going to be super sweaty, super sweaty. Um, Obviously, Gears of War multiplayer, it's a very competitive and also very sweaty community. The game has a steep learning curve, but once you do get the hang of it, it's a very rewarding game to get kills in. But again, it is very competitive and very sweaty. So it's one of those games where it's hard for casual gamers to get into when it comes to multiplayer. Of course, you do have the horde mode and the campaign to kind of get you by, so that's totally fine. Um, but I will say, um, it was a good time to be able to play Gears of War 2. I really enjoyed it, and I thought to myself, man, I think a lot of emulation and mods. I think with that going on, I think it's doing a whole lot of heavy lifting when it comes to the video game industry. I know because if you go on YouTube, it's a whole lot of doom and gloom of the video game industry when it comes to video game prices and mass layoffs and a lot of there's a lot of there's not so much excitement for the AAA for the AAA space, maybe outside of like GTA 6, which is coming around the corner. So, I mean, I know that game's gonna shatter records. I think that game's gonna take over the world. I know that, but when it comes to that, there was a whole lot of doom and gloom, especially with Sony's practices of, removing the physical disc and the Steam machine getting spoiled just because of the pricing and everything. Even though I think it's a marvelous machine, I do think it's a great machine, and I hope that if the price ever does come down, I really would recommend it to everyone. It's a shame that it's very expensive. Closed consoles are getting more expensive and subscriptions are getting more expensive, but with emulation and going through backlogs and the modding community, I think those three come hand in hand, and I think they really, really make gaming a lot more tolerable, more affordable, and just you tend to appreciate more of the games that came before then. Um, I was replaying Grand Theft Auto 4 and having to use a Fusion Fix mod on my Steam Deck, and it ran great. It looked great and ran great. There was a few quality of life improvements that made me, enjoy playing that game. Um, I was playing Gears of War 1 Redux. It was great. Gears of War 2 Redux, as you see as you see on the gameplay footage right now, going back to like 2024 with the H2M mod, which was the Modern Warfare 2 remastered mod, which was highly anticipated for the Call of Duty community. And I still hold on to my files, which I still have. I still hop on it here and there, but it's stuff like that that's just really, really good. And again, you see a lot of modded projects going on, especially in the PC space. A lot of modded projects where they want to preserve these games, and not only preserve them, but to extend the life of them, add quality of life improvements to where it's worth going back to and trying it again, and you know, enjoying the game as it is. And I think it's a beautiful thing. I think it's awesome that the gaming community can be able to do some stuff like that. And of course, the Steam machine being very expensive, I think it's going to be the first domino effect to where it's going to change the whole console generation next year. You already do talk about Xbox Helos. I think that's the next generation console. Where it's supposed to be that also is going to be a console hybrid, which I'm going to predict that it's going to be a much more powerful system, but much more expensive. I'm talking maybe $1,500 base for like the 512 gig, and then like for the 1 TB, 2 TB, you're paying 2 grand. And essentially, it's just a gaming PC. Sony, I don't know if they're doing a hybrid gaming console sort of thing. I'm not sure, or they're just sticking to just being a console. Let's just see how the next generation goes. But then again, that won't be till like probably the end of the decade because due to the whole climate of like RAM shortages and storage shortages, it's harder to develop these systems and to put it and give it out to the system. And then even then, by the time it does get released, those things are going to be sold out. They're going to be scalped, and it's going to be really hard for restocks to come in if this issue keeps happening. So, um, even though this was a little bit of doom and gloom, all I'm saying is that with the next generation of systems, we're looking more towards PC handhelds. We're looking more towards PC gaming hybrids because with PC gaming, there's so much you could do. There's so much openness. There's so much freedom within the PC space. A lot of people are trying to jump into PC gaming. I know my homeboy, he was primarily on Xbox for a very long time, and he's waiting for his Steam machine order to come in, so he's very excited for that. But that's pretty much what it is. I know people who are Sony fans. They say this is probably their last PlayStation they're gonna buy, and they're either gonna just revisit some back catalogs or maybe go to PC or go to Nintendo. I don't know, but I think with the video game industry, I think we're just kind of in a we are in a weird space, but there's definitely some highs. There's definitely some things to be hopeful for. That most definitely it's not all doom and gloom. If you're just looking at the industry, if you're just looking at the AAA space, it is very it is very daunting. It is not daunting. I'm sorry. It is very doom and gloom. It does feel crappy. But if you head over to the indie space, if you head over to the emulation space, modding communities, or just going through some history like backlogs, there is a lot to be found here. There's a lot of love there. So, that's all I have to say, man. I just wanted to, I just wanted to get my thoughts out, just rambling about the PC space, or just the video game industry. What do you guys think, man? Are you guys PC gamers yourselves? Are you looking to get into PC gaming? How do you guys feel about the next generation consoles? Or what sort of modded game, or a modded server, or modded game that you're playing right now that you're enjoying? Um, if you excuse me, I'm gonna go play some Gears of War 2. I'm gonna continue trying to beat the campaign on PC. But anyways, guys, thanks for watching my video, and yeah, peace out.